Did I scare you guys? So if you couldn't tell from the title of the video, today is going to be another paranormal scary, there's little gnats everywhere. Paranormal scary story time. Once again, I am in my backyard. I mentioned this in every single, sorry, if I keep doing this, there's little bugs in my backyard, but I'm in my backyard because I don't know, I just usually when I talk about things and just pay attention to creepy things, they tend to invite things in for some reason, so I don't want to invite anything in my house, hence why I have been filming these paranormal story times outside. So today's story happened very recently. It's my most recent paranormal experience and it was pretty scary, and there was someone with me to experience it. So I'm not crazy, I promise you guys. My little sister was there and witnessed the whole thing with me. So this event happened on a Friday when I was at work. Now where I work is in an office, and there's a huge building and a bunch of little suites with different businesses throughout the entire building. Now one of our neighbors is the company Icy, like the Icy slushy drink, and we're really friendly with all of our neighbors. Everybody's really nice. So we're really good friends with Icy. To keep this video anonymous, I will go ahead and name our Icy neighbor Paul. So that Thursday, Paul came into the office and was like, hey guys, I just want to let you know that I am taking a sick day tomorrow. I have stuff to do, so I won't be here. Now, Icy does not have a secretary. They don't have anyone in their office. It's usually there's two guys. There's Paul, and then there's another guy who comes in and out, but mostly we see Paul more often. Now, because they don't have a secretary or someone at the office at all times, we usually take packages for them. Like if they get FedEx or UPS, they just bring them over to us and we hold them until either Paul or his colleague can come get them from us. So that Thursday when I was leaving, you guys hear that bird? He's being rude. I'm trying to tell a story. Anyway, so that Thursday when we were leaving work, I noticed he had some packages outside his door, which that happens too. Sometimes they'll leave the packages outside their door, and if we're leaving and they're already gone, we'll kind of just pick it up for them and hold it for them till they can come get them. So that Thursday there were packages outside, and we went and grabbed them and put them in the office. And the next day, my sister was actually off of school. So my sister Sarah, hi Boo Bear, is 14, and when she doesn't have work, she comes in the office, which is nice. I have someone to keep me company all day. So she happened to be there this particular Friday, and at some point, actually not at some point, I know exactly what time it was because I took note because I wanted to ask Paul if someone was there. Anyways, it was around 2 o'clock and 2:20 to be exact, not that you guys care, but I told my sister, I was like, hey Sarah, do you want to come with me to go take these packages over to Icy? Because we had them still from Thursday, and I was like, oh, I forgot, Paul's not going to be here, so I'm just gonna go put it in their office, which I do have a key to their office just in case I need to go put stuff in there. Yeah, anyways, we took our packages and we were walking over, and I noticed there was more packages outside from that morning. So I was like, okay Sarah, we'll go put these in there first and then we'll come out and get the new ones. Okay, so we walk in there, and how the office is you walk right in and they have like a little just office area in the front, and then there's just a wall directly to the right. Like you walk in and there's kind of a wall right there to the right, and then the rest of their office is over to the left, which that is the wall that we share with Icy. So on the other side of the wall, on the left side, that's where we are. I just want to like set the whole scenario up for you guys so you guys can kind of understand what's going on. So we walk in, there's a desk right there in the front, and the door was locked. I had to unlock it. All the lights were off. It seemed like no one was there. No one was supposed to be there. And I set some packages down, and then we went out in the front to grab the other ones. And we came in, set the second pair of packages down, and I heard a man's voice. And it's funny because my sister described it this way too. It was like a mumble to where I couldn't understand what the person was saying, but it was close, if that makes any sense. Like it was loud, but it was a mumble. I don't know how else to explain it. Sorry, I thought someone was pulling up to my house. But so I'm setting this package down, and it sounds like the person is literally right around the corner on this left side. So there's a corner here that you can't see, which, you know, if someone was in the back, they would come around that corner. So I'm thinking like, oh, maybe there is someone here. Maybe his partner's here today and I didn't see the truck, which, let me rewind. Both Paul and his partner have Icy vans, and they park them in the front when they're there. So you always know when they're there because there's an Icy van parked in the front. So there was no Icy van parked there, but I was like, well, maybe they're parked in the back because there is a back warehouse that both Icy and us share. It's like a gated, kind of just back yard outside warehouse. So anyways, I heard this voice and I'm like, well, no one's supposed to be here, but maybe, you know, his partner's parked in the back or something, because Paul definitely wasn't there. So once I heard the voice, I kind of looked, you know, in the direction it was coming from. It was definitely coming from the left because there's a wall on the right and there's nothing there, and it wasn't coming from that side. So yeah, basically my original thought was, oh, someone's here, they're gonna come around the corner, and I was like, oh, I'll have to say hi and just be like, hey, we're here just, you know, putting the packages that we had for you guys. That way they didn't think someone was breaking in or anything. So I'm waiting for someone to come around the corner, and I'm looking that way and no one's coming around the corner. And the voice was so loud that literally it sounded like they should have come around the corner any minute. So then in my head, I'm like, am I crazy? So I looked at my sister and I was like, did you hear that? And her eyes, when I turned and looked at her, her eyes were huge. And before I could even finish saying, did you hear that? She books it. Like, she takes off leaving me. So then at that point, once I was like, oh my gosh, she heard it too. No one's here. I freaked out. So I took off running with her. So we ran out. I shut the door. I locked it. And we went back to our office. And I was like, you heard that, right? And she was like, yes. So I didn't tell her what I heard. I wanted to hear what she heard. So I said, you know, what did you hear? And she said, I heard a man's voice, but he was like mumbling or something. And I was like, I heard the same exact thing. And we talked about it. We were like, okay, it definitely sounded like it was close. And she agreed. She was like, yeah, it sounded like someone was in there right there. So then I was like, well, let's go check in the back, see if there's a car parked there. If there's a truck there, that means someone's there. So I don't know who it would be or why they would be there, but it means someone was in there. So we go in the back and there is a truck there. However, no one usually drives that truck. It just kind of sits there. I actually don't know why they have it there, but just the normal truck was there, but no other cars were there. So then I was like, well, maybe for some reason today someone used the truck. So I was like, I know, we'll go check the back door and see if it's unlocked. If it's unlocked, that means someone's in there because they had to have come in from the back. Because like I said, there was no cars parked in front. So I went up to the back door and I kind of tried to nonchalantly turn it just in case someone was there. I didn't want them to be like, what are you doing back here? You know? So I tried to nonchalantly turn it and it was locked. So I was like, there's definitely no one back here. I don't think anyone's in their warehouse. So then at this point, I'm like, okay, like it was so loud and clear and I legit thought someone was there. I'm like, okay, there has to be an explanation for it. So then I thought maybe we were hearing someone from our office on the opposite end of the wall, because between the buildings, the walls are very thin. So if someone is, you know, kind of right next to the wall, you can kind of hear it on the other end of the wall. And that day, the only people that were in the office were my dad and our estimator. We'll name him Ralph. Now, the area where we heard the voice in our office would be the kitchen area. So I thought, oh, maybe my dad or Ralph was in the kitchen and, you know, it just happened to be really loud and we happened to really hear it or something, which I wasn't sure how likely it would have been that, just because, you know, if it was them, it would have been muffled. It wouldn't have been very loud. But I was like, well, who knows? Maybe they were right there. Maybe they were on the phone getting feisty. Who knows? So I asked Ralph, I was like, hey, by any chance, have you or my dad been in the kitchen in the past 20 minutes or so? And he was like, no. So then I was like, okay, I'm running out of explanations to explain this. And meanwhile, my sister keeps telling me like, let's go back, let's see if anyone's in there. And I was like, no, like I didn't want to go back because if there was somebody in there, they're gonna think we're weird. They're like, why do the neighbors keep coming in and out? You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to explain, like,
no, like we just wanted to come and check. We were curious because we thought we heard someone here, but we didn't think someone was supposed to be here. And we heard a voice, so we just wanted to make sure that we weren't crazy or that, you know, there's no ghost or something in there.
So finally, I couldn't think of any other explanation. So I was like, you know what, Sarah, fine, let's go back. Like, if someone's there, I'll just, you know, tell them the truth. Like, hey, we came to drop your packages off and we heard something and we got scared, so we left. And then now we just want to know, like, is there somebody in there? Because at this point, I'm like, well, nobody's supposed to be in there, so if someone's in there, I don't know, they're not supposed to be in there, you know? So we go back next door and we walk in and I yell, you know, hello, is anybody here? And I was yelling it pretty loud. I was like, anybody here? Hello? And no one was answering. So I was like, well, let's just check the office, you know? So we went through all the rooms, we went through all the storage closets, and I just want to say that the vibe in there was just different. I have been in their office like so many times and I never have been scared or got a weird vibe, but the feeling was just creepy. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It was just, I don't know. I guess the air was heavy. I don't know. It was just creepy. Like, you know, when you feel like something's not right or someone's watching you, or I don't know. It just felt different than any other time I've ever been in the office. So we checked everything. and all the lights were off. There was no sign that someone was there or that they just left or anything like that. So once we thoroughly checked the office and no one was there, I was like, all right, let's get out of here. Like, we proved our point. Like, this definitely was something paranormal because there's nobody here. And just to double check, like, again, my last hope of coming up with an explanation is, okay, well, one more time, let's go in the back. If that old truck that's always there is gone, that means someone, for some reason, happened to drive it there today and was in the back and probably left before we went back the second time to check, if that makes sense. So we went back to our office and went in the back, and that old truck was still there. Meaning, if someone was driving it, they would have still been in the office and we would have seen them, and that would have been the explanation. Actually, I lied. There was one more thing I wanted to rule out before I was like, okay, that was definitely paranormal. I was like, on Monday, I'm gonna ask Paul, like, was anyone in your office at 2:20? Because that's the time we were there, and I wanted to ask him if maybe plans changed or someone went there that day. So come Monday, I see Paul. I'm like, Paul, I have a question for you. Was there anybody at your office at all on Friday around 2:20? And he was like, no, not that I know of. And I was like, so you didn't come, your partner didn't say that, you know, he had car trouble and someone had to drop him off, which is why his van wasn't there, like nothing like that. And he was like, no. So I told him everything that happened. I told him the whole story, and he was like, oh. And I asked him, I was like, has anything creepy happened to you? Because he's in there by himself all the time when he is there. And he said, you know, aside from the occasional, like, you know, noises that the AC makes and, you know, just little noises here and there, he was like, no, not really. So I don't know. I honestly, definitely 100% was paranormal because, like I said, there was nobody there. We had tried so many different explanations, and Paul did say, he was like, well, you know, maybe it was our neighbors, so not us, but the neighbors on the right side. And I was like, no, it definitely was coming from the left. You know what I mean? If it was the neighbors on the right, we would have heard it way better because the wall was right there by the door where we were at. And also the fact that my sister was there with me and she heard the same exact thing. Like, I didn't even tell her what she heard, and she described the same exact thing, which rules out us being crazy. I mean, we're crazy, but not that crazy. And also just the fact that the second time we went in there, it was just creepy. Like I said, I've never gotten the creeps from that place. Well, to be honest, I haven't really been in there very long before, but yeah, it definitely was something not human. Again, I don't know if it was, you know, more of a ghost, or hopefully it wasn't a demon. I don't even want to go there. Like, I don't know. Hopefully it didn't follow me or anything like that, which since then, nothing creepy has happened to me. So I think whatever it was is, you know, still there, hopefully. Now, I will say, Paul did tell me that a couple years ago, they did have a receptionist, and she was there all day by herself. And he said sometimes she would stay till late at night. He did say that she would get freaked out and hear things sometimes. Now, as far as Paul not really hearing or experiencing anything, not everybody is I guess open or susceptible to paranormal energies or seeing paranormal things. I mean, for example, Jesse has gone his entire life and has honestly, genuinely never experienced anything paranormal in his entire life. And there's so many people I know that same thing, you know, they probably think people like me are crazy. They're like, I've never seen anything, you're crazy, like there's no way that stuff exists, which I totally understand. If you haven't experienced it or seen anything, then yeah, I get it. I wouldn't believe in it either. But I think because I believe in it and I am very aware that it's out there and it happens, and also my sister too. I mean, my very first story time, which I'll go ahead and link down below my scary story time playlist for you guys if you want to see more. But my very first one was about my sister when she was little and she had this creepy possessed toy. So, I mean, my sister is kind of open to the paranormal and spiritual stuff as well. And so maybe for some reason the fact that we were there kind of just attracted what was in there or triggered it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why whatever was in there, you know, made its appearance for us and doesn't really bother Paul too much. I think it also goes back to the fact that, you know, once again, if you're acknowledging it and if you are putting energy into the paranormal and stuff like that, then they are attracted to you. They are attracted to that. So that is the only thing I can come up with. And once again, I still don't know what it was, but it definitely was freaky and scary. So that is the story of my most recent paranormal experience. You guys seem to like these scary story times, so I will continue to keep doing them. I have a couple more that I can tell you. So if you are not already, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. That way you don't miss future videos. And like I said, if you want to see more and have not seen my previous scary story time videos, I will link a playlist down below. I hope you guys are having a nice day, morning, or nighttime, or whatever time it is that you're watching this. And other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Don't let the bed bugs bite tonight, guys.